following presentation is for mature audiences only.
Who are you?
He's a fine man.
All hell is broken loose.
He's a great broadcaster.
He's a very powerful guy. Absolutely brilliant.
Feared by men, adored by women.
He's a smart boy.
It's patriotic.
It's no big deal.
It's the end of the world.
I might as well tell you now. He's a monkey.
And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome into another edition of The Wild Side with Eric Clark. I am your not at all humble host, Eric Clark, saying thank you for taking time out of your busy day to give this a watch and a listen. If you like it, like it. If you think other people are going to like it, give it a share. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and all the social media link up. That way, if you have a comment, a suggestion, a request, something you want me to hit on, something you want to know about radio, by all means, that is the best way to get a hold of me through my social media. And again, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you get the notification when I make the new one. And again, if you are going to comment with a suggestion for a song, please do me a favor and just go down through the comment section. Make sure I'm not getting just hammered with redundancy. So if you do see somebody had already suggested the song that you want below, and I can't say thank you enough to everyone for doing it, below that comment, leave your agreement, leave your thumbs up, +1, I concur. I appreciate that. You guys have been doing a great job with the I concur. So just show me your agreement. That way, as a former radio guy or as a current radio guy, it's easier for me to look at a request list and say, here are the more suggested of the songs. So I am getting hammered. It is hard to keep up with. Some bands' fan bases are a little more active on social media and YouTube than others. So I am getting a lot of DMs, and I do try to write everything down in my handy-dandy notebook. I heard the reference when I said it. So try to help me keep things as organized as possible, because that way things don't slip through the cracks. Today, for example, we're getting to one that's been on that, hey man, I know these other bands are hammering you, but I've been asking about this one for a while. So I'm going to get around to it today. And again, thank you to everybody who have been polite, who have been kind, who have been following the rules in the comment section, helping me understand how to pronounce things correctly, where people are from as opposed to other places. And I'm doing my best. But here's something you don't know about me. Unlike 95% of the internet, I have no issue with being wrong. I have no issue with being incorrect. I'm not going to assume that I know something about something I don't know. That's more ignorant than just not knowing. So I don't mind being wrong. What I mind is rudeness, condescension, offense, things like that. I don't mind being wrong. I was married to a lawyer. I don't think I was ever right. So I don't mind being wrong, and I appreciate you helping me understand the culture, helping me understand the language, helping me understand the geography. That's very helpful. And there's ways to do that are more effective than others. And I'm just suggesting that you try those methods before you just come right at me and call me a dumb American. So, but I still appreciate your comment and your criticism. So today, we're going to India, and we're going to check out a band from New Delhi. And it started as a lawyer who would do covers of new metal songs and release them on YouTube. And eventually he found a singer who I think was a promoter. And I think the guy who started the band was a lawyer, a corporate lawyer. So go figure. So they formed this band. They were doing covers of new metal tunes, and they've decided to do their own. The name of the band is Bloodywood. And I'm going to try to pronounce their names, but I'm sure fans of the band will be more than happy to correct me, and I encourage that, because I would like to be able to give them the proper respect and the proper justice that they deserve. Karen Katayer is the flute player, guitarist, and the former lawyer who basically formed the band. And he brought on Jayant Badula. Is it Giant? I'm not going to assume it's Giant. I'll say Jayant. Badula is the vocalist, and he does the heavy growling. And Raul Kerr does the rapping in this song. And a lot of people were suggesting different songs. The song I'm going to go with today is the most recent released, and it's called Aj. And if I'm not mistaken, it means today. So this is my first foray into Bloodywood, aside from just writing down where they're from, so I know. and their names, so I can try. I don't know really anything about them. It says Indian folk metal, and if it's anything like the Finnish folk metal or the Swedish folk metal, I'm in for quite a treat. So let's check it out. It is Bloodywood. It is Aj, and this is their latest release. We'll see.
See a bright light waiting at the end of the tunnel, and I might die in the dark, but the pain is part of the struggle. I got my demons at my back, but I'm ready to rumble. I found my reason to fight, so this time I am the trouble. I may be knocked back, but I'm a battle on and rock that. Gonna make it harder than hell spawn and top that. Push the limits, and if it's a fight, then I'm in it. Finish it as I begin it. I came here to win it.
Wow. Okay, that is Bloodywood with Aj, I believe is how you pronounce that, and it means today, according to what I'm reading here. I would never try to use this song to learn Hindi because then it would sound very angry, but very inspirational. So the album is being released, Rakashak, on the 18th of February of this year. And you can go to Bollywood Official, Bloodywood Official. I'll link everything down below for you. First question I have is, are they not signed? I did a little quick look. I didn't see any label on their Wikipedia page. Are they not signed? I'm kind of surprised by that. So let me try to unpack this for you. And this is strictly coming from rock radio scheduler, programmer, music director standpoint. I can hear the Linkin Park, the Disturbed, the Avenged Sevenfold, the Limp Bizkit. I can hear that in there. But I also heard, and this is, maybe it's just me and my brain, but I heard Prodigy. The album was Fat of the Land, or is it Music for a Jilted Generation? I can't remember which album it's from, but Voodoo People. I don't know if you're familiar with that song, but right after this, they go into this riff that's very reminiscent of Prodigy's Voodoo People. Right there. Right there. That's Prodigy Voodoo People, or at least it's similar. That's what I'm making again, as with the White Snake, it's how I'm making that connection. So I'm hearing a lot of influence both from nu metal and from industrial sounds. Industrial music back in the 90s is really what spawned a lot of the nu metal, that dancey, rappy, hard lick metal. So I'm going back to Prodigy, Nitzareb, My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, bands like that, groups like that brought in that rhythmic metal. So I'm hearing a lot of that influence in here. I am hearing a lot of that late 90s, early 2000s nu metal sound, even some Korn and Rage as well. So that's very prevalent, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that even in New Delhi, even in India, they should be signed. This band is borderline mainstream, and I'm going to help them with some advice. I don't know if they care about the U.S. audience. I don't know if they care about the U.S. market. U.S. radio listeners and music listeners are different. They do have different habits than international markets do. I've learned that through music research. First, this isn't Indian folk metal. I don't like these titles that people are putting on these bands, and I felt that way with Wagaki Band. I think, folks, what we're experiencing right now, whether it's through Nightwish and Sabaton or Bloodywood and Wagaki Band, and the United States went through this too. I'm trying to do all this in my head as I'm talking, so just hang with me. This is a new wave of music that's happening all over the world, and it has a lot to do with the reach of the internet and streaming services. So the U.S. music industry, and I have a book in the other room where my lawyer wife, who worked for the music industry, literally, there's a book called The Business of Music. And the U.S. music industry is trying to catch up to that understanding of global reach without the label. So I understand they're not signed, but labels still do provide something you need, which is support. Because who's going to pay to record? Who's going to pay the roadies? Who's going to pay the promoters? Who's going to pay the street teams to make the phone calls to the radio stations? So they are going to need label support. But I want to stop using these terms like folk metal. This isn't really folk metal. It's just rock. I think we should retrograde and try to cauterize what has been happening over the past 30 years which is compartmentalizing every single sound so that some guy up the ladder can double dip on an artist. It's why you'll hear a song from a band on a rock station, and then you hear the same song, but a little different, on the pop station. That's because here in the U.S. and worldwide, they'll make two different versions of a song so they can double dip. I think as rock fans, we need to start taking ownership of that word. We need to take it back. And it started in 1979 when they gave a rock Grammy to Donna Summer. And that started to water down rock. Look, if it rocks, it's rock. It's that simple. You can call it metal, you can call it whatever you want, but this band is a translation to English away from breaking through in America. I'm not kidding you. The sound that they're coming out with right here is the American mainstream sans the Indian speaking. Look, it's a very inspirational song. The messaging that's coming from this song is beautiful. The imagery in this video is absolutely beautiful. So the colors that I see are very bright. They're colors like yellows and bright pinks. They're blooming colors that are in my head when I hear this song. It's not complicated. It's not some ethereal opus. It's a 5-minute rock tune, and it's a good one. So I'm really surprised there's no label representation on their wiki page. Really, I was very surprised to see that. If they are signed, good. If not, shame on any music promoter, any music rep in India or in Europe. I would grab a hold of them right away. And what I would have them do is modify just a little bit of that music for the international audience. Look, I'm not saying Nina had a top 10 hit with 99 Red Balloons in German, but we still played the English version. And I'll give Goldfinger all the love in the world for when they did the cover of 99 Red Balloons. They did their last stanza in German. So we're not opposed to hearing songs in a foreign language. But the message that's coming through to this song, and here's the only reason I would want that translation, is because the message of this song juxtaposes the stereotype of the sound. So it's a beautiful song with really good heavy riff. And it is a hooky tune. The flute is a hook, the drumming is a hook, and the guitar playing is a hook. That's what Prodigy did. They took dance hooks with metal hooks and pop hooks, and they created Firestarter or Nayrana or 3 Kilos or Their Law or whatever. And of course, they were sampling English PSA, Saturday morning cartoons at the beginning. But eventually, that's what they became, the forerunners of this sound. So this sound is very mainstream. And I really think that a band like this, if I had a hammer, right? If I were their management, if I were involved with this band, the advice would be get them booked as much as possible. Get them gigging out as much as possible. Get them out there to everyone, right? And then eventually a label will, because that's what you're looking for. You're looking for enough support to be the headliner at Wacken, to be the headliner at a Monster of Rock or at a festival, because that's really where labels look at you. So they're saying, okay, who are our big money makers? That has nothing to do with songs sold or downloads. Who are their money makers in headlining? Who are people paying the big money to go see? But if you put this band, Bloodywood, midway down a festival lineup, not at the beginning, you want people to see them. So if you can somehow manage to negotiate getting this band in a mid-tier on a festival lineup, I think they'd be huge. And honestly, if you could get back into that studio and make a couple of versions that are international friendly, when you're pushing a message this positive, with music this heavy and this well done, it would behoove you to create alternate versions of these songs for the international market. This is a mainstream sound. I'm not kidding you. That's a mainstream track right here. The way he drops into the rap, the way he goes into the heavy, that's Linkin Park. It's Disturbed. It's Avenged Sevenfold. It's all of that. It's Mudvayne. So we're used to it. This is now about exposure, and I hope that I'm giving it some. But I'm really surprised that they're not signed. I really am. Somebody needs to get a hold of these cats, and they need to get them on festivals. They need to get them on bills with other bands, get them out touring with other bands to legitimize. Again, I don't like that word. But yeah, dude, that's really tight. And going back to the Indian folk metal, no, man, no. We got to get away from that. You're doing a disservice to the overall tone and the tenor of what we're hearing. That's just rock, dude. That's just rock. You can slap origin of sound. I don't care, man. It rocks. So therefore, it's rock. I've had these arguments with people before about piecemealing out sounds and genres, or as we call it in radio format. In rock and roll, so you know, in the United States, rock and roll on the radio, I could probably come up with 7 to 10 different formats of rock and roll. Is it classic rock? Is it classic hits? Is it Americana? Is it active rock? Is it metal? Is it alternative? Is it single A alternative, double A alternative, triple A alternative? See, it goes, it's all over the place. And back in the day, it was AOR, album-oriented rock, which meant all over the road. So in the U.S., they've pieced it apart, but we're trying. The pendulum is swinging back, and we are trying to just say, hey, if it rocks, it rocks. So I should be able to take every band on my radio station and throw one festival with every band playing, and everybody gets along. That's how you program a radio station. Every band you play having a festival at one time, and everybody gets along. Everybody's there to groove. So when somebody said, hey, you got to check out this Indian folk metal band, right away, you're going to bristle the ears of people who have no talent, and that's who's in charge. It's just rock, man. Just say, hey, it's a rock band from India. That's it. And again, if I were the band, I would make a couple of just different versions of these songs. They're great inspirational tune. Great message. The message is all positive. It's all about love. It's all about rising up, seizing the day. Today is my day. It's a great message. Smashing Pumpkins had a hit with a song sort of like it. So if I were with this band out of New Delhi, Karen, Jayant, Raul, someone get behind them and start booking them in these venues where they can get themselves out there and exposed more. And the band, you really do. Look, if all you want to do is stay in New Delhi and do Indian folk metal, cool. But if you want to be a worldwide band, which is what you have the potential to do, that mainstream sound, I would suggest going back into the studio and just making a couple of different tracks, if possible. Because again, the American audience has different listening habits. So if you do want to conquer the world, there are some adjustments you have to make. These are the sacrifices artists have to make to gain exposure to their art. Again, I can show you the book, The Business of Music. It's quite the sticky wicket. It really is, especially for the artists, and I sympathize with you. So Bloodywood out of New Delhi, that is Karen Katayar, I'm going to say Katayar, and Jayant Badula and Raul Kerr. Great tune, man. That was Aj was the name of the song. The album comes out next month. I'll link everything below. That was a good tune, man. It really was. I'm glad you suggested it to me. Again, if you have a suggestion for a tune or a video or a band you want me to check out, leave it below in the comments. But again, go through, make sure you're not just killing me, which has been happening, which I appreciate. I really do. I get it. You're thirsty for this stuff. I don't understand why I bore people with it. But by all means, leave your suggestion below. Also, link up with me through social media. Try to reach out through to me that way. That way there's a direct line of communication, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Before we wrap up the video, I do want to say thank you to those that make the Wild Side with Eric Clark possible, and that is Aspen Dental and Connect 200. And the past week has shown that these two people, these two groups, Aspen Dental and Connect 200, stepped up big time. Could not thank them enough. And I can't thank all of you enough. Thank you so much for your comments, your suggestions, feeding me additional information to help me learn, to help me grow, and help me understand what it is I'm getting into. Thank you for being polite. Thank you for treating each other with decency and respect. The metal community, the rock community has had quite a stigma around it unless you want to profit from it, and then you'll throw it in a Victoria's Secret fashion show. But the rock community does have a little bit of a stigma, so I appreciate you eschewing that stigma and living up to the positive messaging that is always coming through rock and roll. Thank you. I just can't thank you enough, man. Get subscribed. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel so you get the notification. I say it and I mean it. Look out for each other. Look out for your neighbor. Try to do at least one good thing a day. I'm Eric Clark, and this has been The Wild Side.